Here are my thoughts on one of my favorite nights of the year, NBA draft night, from Cooper Flagg to Mark Williams and Maluach, both going to Phoenix, and to Ace Bailey going to Utah. I'll get there, but first, Cooper Flagg. First thing that hit me was, as I watched him, I thought, man, what are the odds that a white kid from small town Maine, Newport, Maine, I don't know much about it. I was watching Marty Smith's stuff on ESPN. He did a great job. The bar in Newport, not Newport, Rhode Island, not Newport, Southern California, Orange County, Newport, Maine. What are the odds a white kid from Newport, Maine would rise all the way up to be the unquestioned first overall pick in the draft? No doubt about it. Slam dunk, first overall pick in the draft. And already getting some comparisons to the top picks of the past. Like, he's a real thing. He's going to be a perennial all-star. I think he'll be the closest thing to Larry Bird since Larry Bird. So I started thinking about Larry Bird when I first heard about, wait, there's a white kid from where? From French Lick, Indiana. And then I thought, well, at least it's Indiana. Basketball hotbed. I think it's a little overrated after Hoosiers. I think it's gone down some over time. High school basketball in Indiana. But still, in those days, that was a thing. That had mystique. And I thought, okay, well, then he was born knowing how to play basketball, Larry Bird. And then I start watching Cooper Flagg handle himself, and he doesn't have much to say in interviews. He's very guarded, very careful, sure taught well by Coach K and Coach Shire at Duke. Maybe even schooled a little bit by J.J. Redick. I saw J.J. the other day at the golf course. But there's no electricity to him. There's no charisma to him. He chose on fashion night, where almost all the other kids are trying to out-style each other. He went to Hugo Boss, which is not exactly SGA going to Chanel. And I like Hugo Boss. I bought a lot of clothes there over the years. But he went straight-laced. He went pretty plain, though sharp. Blue business suit. That's what it looked like to me, with a white shirt and a black tie. No style there. Cooper Flagg is saying, I'm about to go on a business trip to Dallas. I'm going to be all business in Dallas. I'm going to be serious business, or as they say in Texas, business in Dallas, Texas, is the kid from tiny town in Maine. I looked it up. Has Maine ever developed or given us any NBA players? And Duncan Robinson did grow up in small town Maine. I looked this up. I think it was called York, Maine. And Sam Cassell went to high school in Maine. I'm not sure exactly why, but it's not exactly a hotbed of NBA talent. I like Duncan Robinson, but he's an on-again, off-again starter, more of a three-point specialist. Cooper Flagg is the realest of deals. We're talking about perennial all-star. We're talking about a young man who was asked on the ESPN set, well, what do you're so versatile, what do you like to do the most on a basketball court? And he said everything, and I believed him. I think that was straight from the heart answer. I like to do everything. Trust me on this. I broke it down on my show today, Skip Bayless show. He loves playing defense at least as much as he loves to score and to pass and to rebound and to lead. He loves playing that weak side off-ball defense, swooping in. He's got 7 feet wingspan. He's going to give you every ounce, every second, every dribble. I don't know. There's nothing not to like about Cooper Flagg. And weirdly, I liked his presentation tonight because he was 1,000% genuine, very family-oriented, mom, dad, brothers with him. Straight from the heart. I wouldn't want to share this with anyone else except that group, that Flagg 5, as they're already calling them. Dallas got a really good one who will really last a long time. And I tweeted this, and I'm going to reiterate it. I love Luka. I love watching Luka. I mean, he's just must-see TV. Cooper Flagg will never, ever on a basketball court be remotely as entertaining as Luka always is, bitching and moaning to the refs, goofy smiling, laughing going down the court after he makes a three. He doesn't make all that many of them because he's a high volume, you know, I'm going to be nice about it, under average three-point maker. He's just fun to watch. I get it why it just tore out a lot of fans' hearts in Dallas to lose Luka to the Lakers. But if you want basketball impact, if you want long-term, high-velocity impact, a more valuable basketball player than Luka Doncic ever thought about being, I give you Cooper Flagg on both ends of the court, doing everything hard, playing hard, driven, dedicated, business suit hard. I see that Luka is now on some new fitness regimen, new nutrition regimen. It looks like he's lost, 15-ish, 20-ish pounds. I talked all last year about he's just fat. He carries a spare tire around his tummy, and he's got the double chin going. I don't know how. You got to eat and drink really badly to play NBA basketball and get that fat. Just flat out fat, babyish fat. And maybe J.J. Redick lit a little fire at the end and said, we have to get in championship shape. And maybe that's what Luka is dedicating his offseason to doing. The other guy, the kid from Newport, Maine, he was born in shape and will stay in shape. And he will be a driven cog to what could be a championship team. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Again, if Kyrie's knee bounces back 90%-ish, that's the team next year that will threaten the Thunder. That's going to be the second best team in the league because Cooper Flagg will fit right in and play right off the proven talent on that team. That team could have made a run this year if Tyree hadn't torn his ACL. Seriously, could have made a run. Biggest threat to the Thunder, Mavericks. Next year's Western Conference Finals, again, you can argue KD and Houston. No, I'm planting the flag on Dallas. They're going to be the biggest threat to the Thunder. I still think the Thunder will win it all, but I see a 7-game Western Conference Finals, and Cooper Flagg's going to be right in the middle at age 18 of lifting Dallas up to a legitimate threat level to the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'll go Thunder in 7 over Cooper Flagg and company. Obviously, AD and Kyrie. And that team is, Clay's still on the backside, but man, that team is loaded. And that brings us to the opposite of loaded, to what's left of the Phoenix Suns. And speaking of the Lakers, Luka pushed for the Lakers to go get Mark Williams. And I don't know internally what happened. I'm not privy to what exactly happened, but somebody upstairs, after Rob Pelinka was pushed by Luka to go get Mark Williams from Charlotte, 7 feet tall, 240-ish pounds. They didn't have a big man because they obviously gave up a really good one to the Mavericks for Luka. And somebody upstairs said, wait a second. There's Hazel in the background. I thought she was in her bed. She likes what I'm saying. She's into this topic. somebody upstairs said, wait a second, hold on. We're really going to give Dalton Connect, on whom they had hit in the first round, who looked like he was going to be a really viable weapon at that point down the stretch for the Lakers. He tailed off, maybe hit the rookie wall. Fell a little bit into JJ's doghouse. This is post-trade deadline. But somebody upstairs said, we're going to give up that for a Mark Williams who's always hurt. He's always, his energy is questioned. His commitment is questioned. His enthusiasm is questioned. You agree, Hazel, right? And after they had done the deal, they somehow failed Mark Williams on his physical. Well, he seemed fine. He went back and got right back into games for Charlotte, and over the last, 3-ish months of the season, he only missed 9 games for him. That was pretty good, pretty great, pretty healthy. So what exactly was wrong with him? Well, Dalton Connect was wrong with him. I don't know. I don't love him, but I do. I can't argue with the numbers. Man, we're going Duke to Duke to Duke here, because we're going Cooper Flagg Duke to Mark Williams from Duke. He stayed for 2 years. Never the greatest sign. But I look at the numbers for Charlotte. They weren't very good. But I look at what he did. This doesn't grow on 7-foot trees. He was 15 and 10. Averaged 3 assists, 1.3 blocks, not terrible. He's only 23 years of age, as Mark Williams. And he shot 60% from the floor because he's 7 feet tall, and he made 80% of his free throws. So I love the stats. I love the numbers. You can't argue with the numbers. You can argue with the intangibles. You can argue with the health, the commitment, the energy, the enthusiasm. You can argue with all the above, but I'm not going to argue with what Phoenix did, because they went and got Mark Williams, and then they turned right around. I think they gave 2 firsts for Mark Williams, future first, this year and future. And then they turned right around, and with the 10th overall pick that they got in obviously the KD deal, they took another Duke player, Maluach, who I like a lot. I mainly like his 7 feet 2 inch height. He's 7'2" and 250-ish. Still a little skinny. He'll get bigger, but he's only 18. And I saw a lot of react on Twitter. I didn't read a lot of it, but people are saying, what the hell is Phoenix doing? Anybody just watch what the Oklahoma City Thunder just did? Anybody see their starting lineups when they were really at their best? Featured Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein, 2 bigs. Oh, 2 bigs. And then they're mixing and matching 2 bigs, because you need 2 bigs. If you're going to start over and develop a new toughness with Dylan Brooks, a new culture, well, you better start with 2 bigs. So I don't have any problem with that at all. If you know basketball, if you know the NBA, the way it's played now, if you saw what the Thunder just did to the NBA, destroyed it, 2 bigs. And again, Mark Williams, can he stay healthy? You're always going to get 80-ish games from him? No, you're not. Knocking on wood for Chet Holmgren. He's had some injury issues himself. You need 2. I don't have any problem with that. I just don't know, how is he going to pass his physical in Phoenix? Has he already done this? Have they already flown him in? I don't know. I'm not sure if that's pending. But I think he'll pass with flying colors, because I think the Lakers unpassed him to keep Dalton Connect. Somebody upstairs said, we can't let Luka run the franchise, Rob Pelinka. I don't know if it's Jeannie Buss. I don't know if it's LeBron. It could have been LeBron. Saying, what the hell are we doing, man? Connect can play. Somebody said something. Maybe it was LeBron. And pulled the rug right out from under Mark Williams. Which brings me finally to Ace Bailey, to Dylan Harper, the 2 Rutgers teammates. I talked on my show. I tweeted about this. I just don't. I can't fathom. I watched Rutgers 3 or 4 times. And these kids jumped off my TV screen because they're just going to, because they're big talents worthy of being in the top 3 in the NBA draft, 2 and 3 behind Cooper Flagg. And as I said today on my show, and as I tweeted, okay, I watched them, I think I watched them 3 times, and they lost 2 of those games because they went 8-12 in the Big Ten. 8-12? You finished 11th in the Big Ten. You went 15-17 overall with 2 of the top 3 players in an NBA draft. That's impossibly bad and wrong. Something is very wrong. So Ace Bailey tried to sort of control the draft, manipulate the draft, and all the reports had him targeting wanting to go to Washington. Who wants to go to Washington? You want to be a big fish in sort of a sorry little pond. It's not a little pond, but it's a sorry pond. Has been. Probably will be. So what's that about? And yet, of all the gutsy operators in this league, Danny Ainge, after Dylan Harper obviously went second to the Spurs, fine. And after Ace Bailey had not worked out for anybody, canceled day of, the Sixers workout, they were 3. They just said, we're out. They went with Edgecombe. It's fine. He'll be a project, but a good one. And then all of a sudden, at 5, 1 pick ahead of 6 Wizards, Danny Ainge, the CEO of basketball operations, he just said, I want you. He's a talented kid. They're styling with their suits. He and Dylan Harper and the insides of their suits. They got all the pictures going, the Rutgers going, and the Scarlet going. And Ace Bailey had to eat his words. And I expected when he was interviewed on ESPN right after being picked, I half expected him to say, I don't want to go to Utah, because he'd pretty much said that already, or at least reportedly had made that clear to Utah. I don't want to go there. And Danny Ainge said, hell with you, you're coming here, whether you like it or not. Man, there's just something off about what happened with Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey at Rutgers. If I were picking, I know talent prevails, best available prevails, but they weren't best available at Rutgers. Something is afoul there. For that reason, I don't love either one of them. I don't love the Spurs pick at 2, and I don't love Utah's hell with you pick at 5. I just don't. It's just scary to me for both those teams. I really like both those teams. I like Danny Ainge a lot. I love how the Spurs are rebuilding. I thought Kevin Durant would go there, but he surprised me, made me eat my tweets, and he went to a contender. I thought he wanted to semi-retire with the Spurs, who are still off radar a little bit. Nobody's going to be picking them even to make the playoffs next year. Which brings me full circle. Quick thought on my Thunder. I haven't been keeping up with their other pick. It's coming up here in a second, so I'm going to have to cash this out. But, the rich just get richer. They took Thomas Sorber from Georgetown, and he's just a defensive demon, shot blocker, athletic, electric shot blocker. One day he'll back up Chet. He'll be in the rotation at some point, but he'll be a project. He'll be a G leaguer. There's no rush. It's impossible, I think, for him to even make the roster next year, because the Thunder are loaded. They are already prohibitive favorites to win it again next year, and I believe they will. I believe they will three-peat, because everybody's just entering primes for this team. And even as Hartenstein gets a little older, Thomas Sorber is perfectly positioned to ease right into that slot. Way to go, Sam Presti. I know you got another pick coming up here at 25. We'll see how that goes. But it was a very interesting night, starting with Cooper Flagg, planting his flag with a business suit. And then the strange case of Mark Williams, and not strange case in Phoenix taking Maluach also. And the strangest case of all was Utah saying, hell with you, Ace Bailey. Way to go, Danny Ainge. You won the draft night.